Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Blue Room, where we're talking about Clubhouse this afternoon. What is it? Where do you find it? And everything else, which we'll be going into. I'd like to introduce in alphabetical order by first name our panelists today. Elizabeth Soley from Jacob Street Partners, Francine Drest from VIP Corporate Housing, Liz Martin from Century 21 Affiliate, and Jack Jample from Striker. So without further ado, right, what I'm going to be doing is, actually, you're all on the stage already, so it's too late for me to remove you. So maybe we go around the screen in order in which we're appearing, and to introduce ourselves and our companies, let people know a little bit about the company and what sorts of companies use Clubhouse. Liz, if I could ask you first, please, to kick off.
Sure. I'm Liz Martin. I'm with Century 21 Affiliated. I am their relocation director. We just help the transferee with their home sale and buyer process in our coverage areas, which is Florida, Indiana, and here in Illinois. Fabulous. And Clubhouse, well, I mean, I pretty much use it for obviously job-related items, and I'm also a DJ, so I also go on there to kind of, get feedback from other DJs and kind of see what other DJs are doing out there. So,
I'll ask you a bit about that later. That sounds interesting. Elizabeth, please, if you introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Soley. I'm the founder of Jacob Street Partners. We help simplify insurance for the mobile workforce. And so through that, we have insurance products that help those who are staying in short-term housing or serviced apartments.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
And I use Clubhouse in part because of the Global Mobility Room and to continue to engage and grow relationships, as well as personal development.
Fabulous, thank you. Jack, over to you, please.
Yeah, hi everyone. Jack Jampel. I work for Striker, and I handle their global mobility program. I use Clubhouse for different reasons. The global mobility, obviously, for keeping up with the industry and keeping a pulse on what's going on and learning. And then also for my personal development, which then, relates to, improving career and things in mobility. So we can talk about that a little bit later. And that's me.
Yeah, would love to, though. We'd love to talk about all of these, how we use it and the benefits. Francine, over to you, please.
Thanks, Richard, for having me and having us here. I'm Francine Dresty with VIP Corporate Housing, and VIP Corporate Housing handles corporate housing across the country, the United States, for companies, individuals, and just helping folks with their temp living needs. And I use Clubhouse professionally and personally. So use it. We'll talk about Ben Cross and Christine Caldwell. They created the Global Mobility Club and just wanted to, get people together during the pandemic and keep people connected, keep people engaged, and really create conversation and build relationships, which is what we did. And so from that, and just with personal development, really how you can use Clubhouse, really there's so many different ways. So excited to be here and talk about all that.
Yeah, I can't wait, actually. I have to admit, personally, I've found Clubhouse a challenge, getting used to it, mainly because it's audio only. I mean, let's kind of go through what Clubhouse is in theory. So it's an audio only app on social media on your telephone. It's like a chat room. You've got large and small chat rooms for live discussions. You can participate or you can listen. and really learn and network. So kind of in a nutshell, that's what it is. It confused me quite a lot to begin with, getting used to it. Once we're used to seeing each other and that kind of body language, you know when people are about to speak, and that kind of that wrong-footed me. But the aim this afternoon, we're kind of discuss and talk about Clubhouse, and hopefully encourage the viewers to join us, and specifically, of course, because we'll probably all be in the global mobility and service department sectors. So maybe we go around the gallery, kind of just asking, how did you come across Clubhouse, and why did you want to use it as a social media? Liz, if we can, we'll go around at the gallery. So when did you start on Clubhouse?
So it's kind of interesting. My previous boss from my other company, she had invited me into a room, and she just was, pretty much telling me how it will benefit me professionally, both in my career here at Century 21 Affiliated and DJing. So it started out with that. It kind of, I went into a few rooms, but I was slightly confused at first because we didn't have, the sessions that our dear Francine will host here. Well, I think it's like every Tuesday or something, Wednesday, one of the dates. And so I was confused. So I just stopped paying attention to it. And then Ben Cross had invited me in, and that's kind of how, the mobility group and all of that, that's kind of how I became part of Clubhouse and really, getting into it professionally and for DJing. Right.
I keep getting interested every time you're saying DJing. I can't imagine how that works, but we've got to find out more about that. Elizabeth.
Hi. So I first learned about Clubhouse through Inc. magazine. They were doing, which is, magazine that's geared towards entrepreneurs, and they were talking about it. And I'm like, what the heck is this? And then Christine Caldwell and Ben Cross were talking about it, and they were posting things on LinkedIn. And I had an Android phone. And so I wasn't available to me. So I made the decision to go out and get an Apple phone. I did need a new phone, but to switch back and to move towards an Apple. And just because I knew that they were starting the Global Mobility Room, and it looked like it was a lot of fun. And so wanted to be a part of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's amazing. I don't think I even knew that.
Jack, how about yourself? When did you I consider you as being the ultimate professional on Clubhouse now. It would be interesting to know how long you've been on there.
Yeah, I got invited by a speaker that we used on our regional council. That was a LinkedIn professional, and she invited me onto it. And that was my first experience with Clubhouse. And then, as everyone mentioned, Global Mobility came up with a room specifically for global mobility. And what happened was we definitely used the room at first, to just converse and get a lot of ideas together. We're getting comfortable with it. And I see, Jamie has a comment. I'm a bit lost on Clubhouse myself. But I think the key is really with Clubhouse is that you just have to come in and just be an audience member and listen and get used to how people come up on stage, the questions they ask. And it's a slow process. But if you give up on it, you're right. You're never going to get the true value out of it. And what I did is I kind of broke away from Global Mobility Room and started looking at other rooms and found out that there's just so much personal development that is being provided by all these coaches, free advice and networking, and people that you meet all over the world, okay, that you would never have received a chance. And it's helping me in my career as well, because it helps me, to better myself and understand people. But, there's such an advantage. And I like to listen only because a lot of times, you may see me on it, but I have it on like a radio show. I can be working and listening to what's going on. So it's like a radio show. No one sees you. They know that you're on and you can be listening. If you have something to say, you can come up and say it. You can move back down to the audience. But really, you have to take small steps. You have to just start using it, listening in, and looking at what rooms are available. But we'll talk about more of the value that it has brought me as far as developing me and also helping others. Okay, when I see something that may interest Liz or Elizabeth or something like that, I'll let them know about this room and they'll jump on and get value out of it. So it seems complex at first, and I was really down on it. But then as I got hooked, and you do get hooked on it, there's just so much value that there's so many great people on that can provide you. And we can talk more about this. Thank you.
That's really interesting, Jack. And yeah, I will definitely come back and talk about that addiction. Yeah, yes, I love it. You say you get hooked on it. You do. I wanted to ask people about that a little later, actually, about how addictive they have found it. But because they say, don't they, that you can kind of get hooked on it. Francine, over to you. What was your story with coming across Clubhouse and currently using it, please?
So Jackie Rowan, who is on the show commenting, she is who brought me into Clubhouse. So thank you, Jackie. And so Jackie had introduced Ben Cross and got Ben Cross and Christine Caldwell involved. And so from them, trying to figure out like what Clubhouse was and really how we wanted to engage people. And, this was kind of during I felt like the heat of the pandemic, and the vaccines weren't readily available. They were still in testing mode. So it was, I felt like some extra time on our hands to really engage and get to know people. And like Liz and I, we really formed like a really strong bond through Clubhouse and getting to know each other, and seeing with, Jack and Elizabeth, having these great conversations and really getting to know each other. And in Clubhouse, the conversations are a little bit different than on Zoom, we're having a hearty conversation now. They're very intimate, and they can be as close to the heart as you let yourself engage in the moment. So whether it's a professional or a personal development, as Jack mentioned. So I use it for both of those. I dug in, and I was on Clubhouse all of the time initially to learn. And I've backed off some, and I kind of am on and off just because the workload is a little bit different right now. So just trying to spend some selective time on Clubhouse. But I've used it for so many different things. And so love to share later on the show how I am using it, because there are just like Jack is using it in so many different ways as well. So.
And I'd like to just do a big shout out to you, Francine, because almost every single day for at least 3 months, you did training calls so that anybody and everybody who is on the Global Mobility Room has attended your room and has learned from you. And you really just, took it a step further so that you were able to get people involved and to really get engagement. And so that took a lot of time and energy, and thank you. And I know I learned a lot from your calls or rooms or whatever we call it.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
That's a really nice comment, Elizabeth, and I'd like to second that, because I knew absolutely nothing about Clubhouse before I went on one of those introductory courses as well. Right. So they were very useful. Maybe in that case, because with the aim of the broadcast being to try to encourage viewers, and I would like to thank the live viewers now and the viewers of the recordings in future. So thank you for watching this broadcast. The aim to bring more people into Clubhouse so that there can be more interaction. So Elizabeth, you mentioned about initially it was on Apple only, and then it became Android, and I had the same very bumpy journey, and I kind of had a family member with a cast-off Apple phone, and I didn't know what buttons I was pressing, literally, because some of the screen was blanked out. And then and then on my own Android, when they did launch on Android, I had the wrong version, so I got a new phone, and now I'm okay. But yeah, so step one. Well, Francine, you've been so good in introducing people. Maybe I can ask you kind of to run through those steps. You know, that you need the phone, you need the invitation, presumably. So would you mind if doing that, please?
Yeah. So just walking through like what to do when you get on Clubhouse.
Or how
Yes.
to get on Clubhouse.
Yeah, what you need initially. So you need either an Apple phone or an Android. In other words, there's no excuses there. Then you need somebody to invite you. Is that right still?
So yeah, so you can either get an invite two ways, one from an individual or one from a club. So Richard, you host your club service departments. So as you're hosting an event for that specific club, you can send out a link, which you do for your events. And if someone clicks on that link, that will give them an invite directly into Clubhouse and into that room. So there's two different ways that you can do that now. And we're grateful for Clubhouse for the updates that they continue to make because it's making it so much easier, you know, because we only individually have so many invites. So clubs are now getting their own invites, and now we can message folks on the app as well. Previously, we weren't able to do that. So there are a lot of really great things now.
Yeah, exactly. They've improved it a lot, haven't they? So you're on Clubhouse, and then you are invited. Like, for example, the link I've just put in there. If the viewers were to copy and paste that link, or at least write it down and do it, then they'll get an invitation into Clubhouse via, in this case, the service department's club, but similarly, the Global Mobility Club, and I would also like to pay respect to that club for being so active. And you know, they started very early and got a great group of people, great membership. So you know, they can join through any means, really, through either of those clubs. Once you're on the club, then there'll be lots of rooms, there'll be lots of topics as well. And like you said, Francine and Jack, sometimes it's social and sometimes it's professional, and you can mix and match. And I don't know, my own experience, at least I don't know what your own experiences were, but is that it hooks in really nicely, like the topic that the room that you run on a Friday with you celebrating your wins of the week, professional and personal. You kind of get to know people better, and it hooks in then with other social media interaction and Zoom calls and everything, and you just know the people better once you're there, don't you? Do you think is that how the common experience?
Can I let me jump in here? Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest advantages of us using the mobility room. And as Francine and Liz and have met up, we are a very siloed organization. As much as everyone wants to believe that mobility, we're all partners and collaborators and everything else, at the end of the day, there's a lot of silos. And what I have found, the more people that get involved in this, it's breaking down those silos. It's not being afraid to speak to someone that's in your same industry, that's a competitor, or someone that, is not a competitor. That's what I've seen with this, is that the more people that get involved in this, and you're not, there's no pictures involved. So you don't have to worry about what you look like or, what's behind you or anything like that. It's so much easier. And now they've added what they call a back chat, which while you're in a room, you can chat with anyone within that room. Okay, just like we're doing here, private chat. Well, you can chat with someone. So if someone said something, you can follow up with them and talk to them about it. So I think from a networking perspective, it's helping our industry a lot. During these times, I have a feeling it's going to slow down as we get busier. Probably Clubhouse for our industry is probably going to slow down, because as we begin to travel and as we begin to get busier, it's going to be tougher to keep this up. So that's just my thoughts on it.
Well, it was kind of lightning in a bottle, so that it was new technology where people wanted to move in, as well as us all being home because of the pandemic. And that I think that that's been a fantastic opportunity for all of us who didn't really know each other before, to connect on a different level. And we've each hosted different rooms. Francine and I and Vinny host Celebrate the Wins and Grow Together. And that room came about because we were on actually one of Francine's training calls. And we were all relatively experienced, but we all kind of hopped on and were talking and talking about what we were enjoying and what we were learning from Clubhouse, and how we wanted to bring some of that within our own group. Because the goal of the Global Mobility Room is for us all to learn and to connect and build closer relationships within global mobility. And there's Vinny. And so I mentioned that I was really enjoying getting ready each morning, listening to somebody who was talking about, celebrating, people were coming online and talking about, what they've done well, what's worked this week, what's good, how, tell me something good. And so we all decided, Francine and Vinny and I decided to host a weekly room on celebrating the wins and growing together. And it's been fantastic to hear the personal side as well as the professional side. And it's, we always, particularly going through such a hard period as COVID, it's great to have the focus on something so positive and so personal. And then we really do kind of grow together, because we do learn about, what people have done and their personal development and how it's shaped them, and how you can benefit it.
Yeah, indeed. No, thank you for that. I'll run through some of the, I will be, you've already been forewarned, but I'll warn the audience as well. I will be disappearing occasionally just to field some of the comments and questions. But I would like to thank Jackie here. So Vinny, thanks very much, because I know that you were pressed for time. So thanks for popping in for a few moments. Jackie, thanks. It's nice to see you, and we'll be coming on to some of your other comments as well. Brian, good to meet you again, and thanks for coming along. Jamie, I'm learning an awful lot about American football right now, and I look forward to it. Yeah,
I love it.
You have to use a different language in the States, but it's something like, do I need to say "Go Steelers"? Does that make sense? And we use a different language in England for football chants, but I'm learning.
I think it's actually it's Go Birds, not Go Steelers. It's Go Birds.
Is that who are they then?
No, it's Bear Down. Bear Down.
Oh no! Oh, I'm going to have to start removing you from stage. I think there's going to be there's a fracas. But thanks, Jamie. I'll speak later. Rebecca from Toronto. Thanks for tuning in, and Bianca from Berlin. Thanks, Bianca, and I'll see many of you tomorrow on Saba Networking. Michelle, again, thank you very much for popping in. We'll come on to some of the other comments and greetings a little later. I mentioned Saba there, and yeah, people getting back to work. So social media is great, and it's helped us through COVID a great deal. But my question really is hooking back into Clubhouse. Do you think that Clubhouse would have gained the traction it has if COVID wasn't here?
In my opinion, probably not. I think the timing of it was perfect because we're in the midst of COVID. So, everything worked out just fine and great. Nobody's traveling. But that gets back to what, I was saying before. I truly believe as companies open up and we have travel more, there's going to be a lot less on Clubhouse in our types of industries, in companies that have corporations. I think the majority of people on Clubhouse are coaches, entrepreneurs. It seems like it's that type of model that they have, and they tie in a lot to Instagram. If you're going to be on Clubhouse, you have to be tied into Instagram, because there's a lot that's taken off Clubhouse. Clubhouse can take it a certain point, and then you have to get into like Instagram, where you start seeing different people's websites and what they can do for you and things of that nature. And I think that, Liz, I'd like for you to talk about the experience that you have that probably you never in your life would ever have the experience with Jeff. Okay. Talk about, Jeff and that, how that came about and how shocked you were. And now we have a friend in Nashville. Go ahead.
So it's funny because I was just talking to Francine about this yesterday. So I was brought into a room. Obviously, I followed Jack into it. Well, on one of the moderators was this guy, Jack, and he just starts introducing himself and how he, what is exactly his title that he did with Tim McGraw? He was like his producing agent or something of that matter. And Tim McGraw, guys, is like one of my biggest musicians. He's like everything to me. Like I always think he should run for president. So I was so shocked to have heard this. I was just like, what? And so he had caught my attention right away. And honestly, every room I'm in with him, he understands me professionally and also in my musical world. So DJing. So he did things that, we can talk about is absolutely amazing. But Friday we talked about my fears and how I see artists on stage. And I asked how do they, are they nervous? How are they doing that? And, the way he responds is just, it's amazing. He has an answer right away. And it's a true answer. So I really appreciated being in that room with him. I also appreciate Jack for always just bringing me up on stage and, kind of calling me out because he knows, I can kind of use the help in certain areas. So Jack has been, both checks have been pretty amazing. But that we got to get out to Nashville. I want to meet Tim McGraw.
No, that's great. I'm reading there. So Vinny and you, Jack, you're thinking of setting up a club on Clubhouse for regarding the ERC. Would you like to say a little bit about that, perhaps?
Yeah, I was talking to Vinny yesterday, and there's just so much going on with ERC and changes, and Vinny's been very involved with speaking with Lynn Shotwell, as well as myself, in trying to improve things that they're doing that have been kind of, announced. Like they were going to have a corporate roundtable on Friday afternoon, which is a travel day of everybody leaving. And, Vinny reached out and I reached out as well, saying there's nobody. First of all, it's going to be hard for corporate to attend anyway. But then secondly, to expect corporate to stay there for a roundtable on Friday afternoon, they're going to have nobody there. So it's things like this. We want to talk about hearing from suppliers. What are their plans? Are they going? How is ERC doing for you? Is it worthwhile? So I think that's what it's going to be about, just discussions about how is ERC supporting the industry and what are your plans for Chicago ERC?
That's fantastic. Mm-hmm. I've never been to ERC and probably I'm not sure that I ever will particularly, but I'd heard so much about it, and that sounds great. On one of Ben Cross's shows recently, they were talking about mentorship, I seem to remember, and introducing then was that I don't know, Liz, introducing then to the different shows. Perhaps using Zoom calls, in fact, to do that, just so that people aren't nervous about going to those huge conferences where they don't know anyone. Does anybody, experience that kind of thing where you go into a conference and you don't know anyone and you're thinking, well, why have I come? So the introduction on Zoom calls maybe.
I've done a couple of those where people were first time at ERC that I pretty much walked them around and took them along with me. to a lot of the different events. And I think it's something that I suggested a long time ago to ERC, is that they should try to match up some first timers with people that are veterans, to actually walk around with them, not just to talk to them and whatever, but actually took them through and introduced them to a lot of people. So I think it's a great idea. And I think it's probably something that they should really formalize for those first time attendees.
Well, and I think that there are lots of us who have small companies who there's just one of us who is attending, or maybe two. And so regardless, even if you know people, you're still don't have necessarily your group with you. And so it is hard, even when you know people, to walk into a room by yourself. And so that's one of the great things about Clubhouse, and also having been in our industry a long time, is that, you know, if Francine walked into a room, you know, she could always come up to me, or Liz or Jack, and that we have these deep friendships now because of that. And so it's just, you know, it makes it so much easier to get acclimated and to network with once you know more people. And so Clubhouse, the Global Mobility Room, is definitely a great way to do that and to get ready for ERC. So that way you have these relationships in place.
Yeah, that's fantastic and really exciting, isn't it, to use the new media for to crack an age-old problem. So yeah, yeah, interesting. I see that we've kicked off with some football wars here. So Phillies, who are they then? What from Philadelphia?
Baseball.
It's baseball.
Baseball. Okay, so we got.
So Richard, when I said Go Birds, so Go Birds is the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So Jamie's from Pittsburgh, the other side of Pennsylvania.
Right.
So anyway, so he was talking about now the Phillies, which is also from Philly, but he was talking about Tim McGraw's dad, who played for the Phillies. So anyway, full circle.
Right, brilliant. I love this passion, and that's what's needed, isn't it? I mean, I think I'm getting drawn into it now. Oh dear, the family aren't going to see me, mind you. They're probably happy.
No, I think you already have your addiction of soccer, which is football, and
Yeah.
I think you should stick with that, and because I think that is a lifelong passion for you.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, yeah, because it comes with the pain as well, doesn't it? Well, as everybody knows, sports fans. No, that's great. Right, so if I'll do a little break at this point, and I would like to thank the very valued sponsors of the Blue Room. So I'm going to. It's not quite enough time to make a cup of tea, so don't go out and put the kettle on. But it'll be about 2 minutes. And yeah, thank you very much to our sponsors. Here you go.
Jack went out for some tea, like you told him not to.
We lost Jack.
Yeah, we're back in the room. Yeah, Jack's gone. Okay. So here we are, back again. Facebook user, sometimes they don't. It doesn't come through with the names, unfortunately. There's a certain way that you need to do it from Facebook. I think. Hi everyone, thoroughly enjoying Clubhouse and meeting so many great people, some great conversations, and some good panels too. Stick with it. Yeah, thank you for that. And it is. I mean, there's so much sort of excitement. Maybe I'll touch on that warning that were given early on, that Clubhouse can become addictive. Has anyone found that? I mean, do you? I didn't suffer from that because I had such a bad phone that I wasn't, I didn't want to go on that often. But I mean, I can imagine it can be, because you can just switch it on and you're there potentially in a conversation. And certainly, like Jack said, you can use it for just like a radio almost. It's better than radio because it's so specific. Any problems that you want to talk about with the addiction side of things? No, it looks like everyone's okay there. Yeah, I mean,
I don't think I'm addicted. Actually, I think that I actually have to remember to access it and to use it. It is great that when when I'm getting ready, I use it as a podcast in the morning so that I can listen to something to start my day, to put me in the right frame of mind. And then also what I love about it is, like, Jack had an issue that was going on, I guess about a month ago, and he pinged a bunch of people and we all hopped on, and, it was 10 o'clock on, I think, a Saturday night, and we all kind of talked about it and interjected, how we were feeling about it and what we would do and what we thought. And then, like Richard, you and I, had a great conversation that we wouldn't normally have, because somehow I got pinged because you were, practicing setting up a room, and it was just perfectly timely, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well,
I love that about it.
It was funny. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning our time, and I thought, no one's gonna. I'm going to test this. I'm going to test this, and then all of a sudden, ping, ping. Yeah, no, it was like you say though. We had a great conversation, didn't we? So it was. Jackie there as well, saying it's a great way to network. If your role doesn't give you the opportunity to travel and network in that process, really. So. And that won't change for some of us. I was walking. We had builders in a couple of days ago here, taking out the bathroom. I thought, well, I'm getting out of it, and I went for a walk. Totally burnt my face in the process because it was so sunny. But I was walking through the park, and I just thought, okay, I'll tune into Clubhouse and see what. And there was a serviced accommodation club, and I thought, oh, that's interesting. Then they were talking about the contractor market and the corporate market and what have you, and I just felt compelled to jump up on stage. I knew the person from the cyber networking anyway that was moderating, and it became a really good and useful conversation. And there's me, kind of like with my spindly legs, walking through a park with my shorts on, but on Clubhouse, and generating kind of and actually doing business. So it can be so fantastic.
Well, Ben Cross has actually described Clubhouse as the global mobility room, at least, as kind of what we have when we're at conferences and ERC around the bar, and those kind of discussions that you'd have with your close circle, and what you're seeing and what you're experiencing, and what competitors you're hearing about. And so it's hanging out at the bar, just. Yeah.
No, it's a great description. Yeah, great description, and I'm sure all of us will drink to that one.
And it's also like back in the day when there's like a three-way calling. Now you can just like ping people into a room. If you have like a question or you need to like talk to somebody. So I know in the very beginning of this, Vinny and Ben and I, it was like 10 o'clock at night, and we all went into a room because Ben, just had a question. Then he wanted me to like throw on music, and things just got real weird, but it was great.
No, it is. It is. It's. It's really good. I mean,
Well, Francine, do you want to talk about the difference between a private room and a public room?
I needed to unmute myself. So yes, so private rooms, you can ping people into a room, and so that's a closed room. So only those folks will be able to have a conversation. You can set up rooms. So when we host a session on Clubhouse, you're going into a room, and when you set that up, the club admin has the discretion to decide if that is a open room, meaning like folks that are not part of that club can access that session, or if it's a closed room. So you've got all different types of discussions that you can have. So there's benefits of each of them. Being able to have an open room so anyone can come in at any time, and you can include them into the fold. And that's what's great about Clubhouse is a lot of the discussions are very flowing. So maybe the session starts at 8 o'clock, but you show up at 8:20. It isn't like, hey, gosh, you're late. It's like, hey, sure. Well, every 5 or 10 minutes, hey, we're talking about this. We're glad that you're here with us, and let's continue the discussion. So yeah, there's benefits of closed and open. And for those closed rooms, you can have confidence in having those private conversations with that group that you select.
Can I just, I just want to add something, and I'm sure about, there's algorithms that are being tracked in Clubhouse that are amazing. I mean, I've never seen them, but I hear all these entrepreneurs that use it that can tell what the average amount of time someone stays in their room. They get all this information about people that were in their room that's out there. There's apps out there that track Clubhouse activity, and it helps them in generating business and leads and things like that, which I found was amazing. They can actually tell the average time someone who was in the room, and they chart it, and they can tell how good the room topic was and things like that. So there's a lot of changes going on behind the scenes that we don't even know about. So it is amazing. It's an amazing app.
And I kind of want to go back to when you asked the question, Richard, about, if any of us were, obsessed with Clubhouse. I wouldn't really say that I am, but I do visit it. Yeah, I do go on, a few times throughout the day because it's really unique. There's a little calendar that's on top of the, the app or whatnot. And it shows you different rooms that are going on throughout the day. And sometimes if I'm feeling a certain way in the moment or whatnot, I search for, I look through the calendar to see if there's a room that maybe I can jump in that maybe can help me out and, in a certain moment. So I do it's like a free therapy session. If you're just feeling a moment, just go on Clubhouse and kind of see what rooms are available. And you just jump in those. And I got to tell you, it definitely has helped.
Yeah.
I love listening to, I'm not sure the name of the room, but it's every day it has highlights from some famous person. So it has Tony Robbins and Oprah Winfrey and, Michael Jordan. And it's just all the kind of things that you would get if you were reading their book or if you were attending, the highlights of what they would be saying at a conference. So you're getting the synopsis in, just a short period of time. And it's great hearing their wisdom and motivation. And so it's just really positive. I love using Clubhouse, again, kind of what Jack said, because there are so many business coaches out there to learn and develop. And I actually hired somebody from Clubhouse from the business to business sales magic room regarding redoing our messaging and what our value is and how we help companies and how we help the employee experience or the guest experience and really work on that. And so that was a wonderful thing that hadn't even thought about and really was excited to be able to learn that. And so that they've actually introduced me to a number of leaders within this industry and a number of books that I'm trying to read. So it's been really helpful as far as self-discovery and self-learning.
Right. And, and to add to that, Jack again went into a room one day and I followed him in there and we met this woman, Sloan, who she's absolutely amazing. And she and I had a one-on-one session in regards to, and I might say this wrong, an Enneagram. And it's basically just kind of like a self-test to kind of see, who you are as a person and, what number you are. And within that, it gives you it evaluates you in different parts of your life in which you need to work on or, what you're great at. And with that, it was because I did that, I go back to the sheet every day to kind of, again, just one of those things where it's helping me out daily. So again, I would have never even knew what that was or gone through something like that if it wasn't for Clubhouse.
So follow Ian Cron because he's the person who wrote the book and who is the one who came up with it. And he used to be our minister.
I'm looking at him.
I don't know if it's possible to post it in chat, but otherwise, if people contact you, Elizabeth, for that information after the broadcast, then that'd be great. Sarah there online saying, I'm just nosy. It's true, she is, and click into certain rooms and then quietly leave. I haven't done so much on it yet, though. Great panel. Thanks, guys. Yeah,
I know, Sarah, and you keep saying you're going to come and join. We haven't seen you yet.
Yeah, Sarah was there actually on Friday.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She came Friday.
Yeah. So, no, that's great. Anthony, I would also like to mention Anthony. So you may have seen him on Nina's Blue Room show recently, where they were talking about minority-owned businesses. So Anthony, the comment there, by the way, I think is referring to the ERC, the ERC room. So yeah, thanks for dropping by, Anthony. And Jacek, thanks for coming along from Silver
Door.
No, Silver Stream Apartments in Southampton. So I hope I've got that right. Yeah, so write in the notes the company name again, please. You'll shoot me for that one. So I would like, you might even come on stage if you like, because I would like to, well, very shortly, I'll post a link for people in the audience, not the recorded. Don't try to join if you're watching the recording, but if you're live now, you'll have a chance to jump up on stage with us, and that's the experience that you'll get in Clubhouse. So if you're brave enough, I'm going to post the link in a minute and you can join us. But I'd like, it's strange that you mentioned that with Instagram, Jack, because I've started using Instagram again recently, and for no particular reason. So it's kind of like sidekick there. It's that you mentioned that kind of link with Instagram.
Yeah, it's I don't use it a lot. I only use it because of Clubhouse. It's just another way to converse with people when they're not in a room or something like that, and also see their feeds and things that they do. So you can use it as much or as little as you want, but you definitely have to have at least a site to go to have that connection. They don't use LinkedIn a lot, and it's really interesting. I guess they feel it's too much of a business-oriented website, so they don't use LinkedIn a lot, and they don't use Twitter a lot for this either. Instagram seems to be the one that you can directly link to from Clubhouse, and that's pretty much what most of those individuals use a lot, is Instagram for their marketing.
Right, interesting.
Yeah, and go ahead, Liz.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, Jack, I think that's purposeful that they didn't use LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is in the process, as Facebook also, is developing their own Clubhouse type experience. So that was my comment. Liz, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's funny because Jack said that, because I'm not really sure how much Jack uses Instagram, but this Jack guy, before Jack came on one of his shows on Clubhouse, did this like huge introduction of Jack before the show on Instagram. And with like Tim McGraw posters in the back, and I texted Jack, and I'm like, "Oh my God, you're famous! Like you are." It was like Jack Campbell, and then in the back it was like Tim McGraw with this guy Jack, and I was just like, "That is amazing." And Jack was like, "What's that?" I was like, "It's on Instagram."
Brilliant.
Yeah, there's just things that happen that you just can't believe that you're involved with sometimes because of the how many people you have access to. And a lot of times they have some famous people on there too. They'll bring in famous people to talk. I think they have some people from Shark Tank on there. Mr. Wonderful was in one room, and he was taking questions and answering to people, and they had some sports figures on, so it's kind of cool.
I think that Jack guy is famous. Like I would love to have him at a speaker at a meeting one day, like one time. I love him.
We're going to meet up with him in Nashville. Next time we're in Nashville, he said we'll meet up.
Yep, we're going to. And we're going to stalk Tim McGraw on Faith Hill.
Let's do it.
Even Brits, the mention of Nashville, think music. So that's quite a good introduction to a question I have for you, Liz. But before I do that, just want to mention, you were saying about the different kind of the different topics that are covered. And I remember one that was in global mobility, I think, I'm pretty sure it was, because that's, where I go mostly, was a gentleman that speaks about 5 languages, including Mandarin and what have you. And the conversation was about how that languages make the world a smaller place, and introduction to understanding other cultures better, and world peace, maybe. It's sort of, it's that fundamental, but it can be there's some great conversations out there. And before I ask you the question, Liz, so I've posted on the screen there, in case anybody wants to join us on stage. There are no prizes for being brave, but you'll get a lot of respect. So Liz, so I'm intrigued. So we've got about 5 minutes and we need to finish quite on time, but for a couple of minutes, if you can let us know, please, what you're doing with this DJ thing, because that sounds really interesting.
On Clubhouse?
Yeah, isn't it?
So I really haven't done much on Clubhouse and DJing, other than, kind of going into rooms and getting advice, because, as any performer, it's kind of nerve-wracking, especially when it's just you going in front of, 500 plus people, on the weekends, to DJ. So, I kind of was struggling with like fears, things like that. So, Clubhouse definitely helped me in a way. And one thing I just want to add is, I don't know if anybody's ever heard, and I'm sure you have, when somebody says something like, you should go to therapy, you should go talk to somebody that that doesn't even know you, maybe they'll help you. I felt one time in a Clubhouse, I was like, this is like therapy, where I had like Baha moments like crazy. And just as one comment this guy made to me before, who said, if they didn't want you, Liz, to DJ, they wouldn't have you, but they want you. So you need to get that in your head, that they would have never have called you if they didn't want you. And those words live with me every single day. So that's why I love Clubhouse, and that's why I utilize the room. But in terms of me going in there and actually doing my own thing, no, I don't do that yet, but maybe one day. However, you will find me do that on Facebook. But don't everyone request me all at once.
No, but you can imagine it though, can't you? You can imagine it working, I think. Yeah, I mean, so as we do draw to a bit of a close, and maybe we should go around the panel. We were going to talk in more detail, and I'm sorry we didn't, regarding how we use Clubhouse and the benefits. But maybe should in the kind of summary, should we stick to the benefits and in a nutshell, and maybe could I ask Francine if you could to start on that one, please? We'll go backwards around the gallery.
Sure, thanks, Richard. this has been a great panel. So grateful to be here. And the benefits of Clubhouse, I would say number one is relationships, just the relationships that we've built over this time, really intimate, getting to know each other. We hope, we see folks in our session on Fridays to celebrate your wins. And, we love having Liz helping us host that because she brings just different energies. So it's just great. But really relationships, relationships, number one. Number two, just personal development. You can search Clubhouse for really anything that you want to learn about. For a while, I was digging into public speaking. Ended up in a Clubhouse room about public speaking and just ended up hosting that room. It was a really unique experience, and that's what Clubhouse is. You just take one step, get into a room, and you just let your guard down and dig in. So really, it can be whatever you want it to be. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. But it's definitely been an added value in my life.
Definitely, I mean, on the point of dropping your guard, and I think it's one of the great aspects of your room. So, and you all moderate it, don't you? So Liz, Elizabeth, and Francine, which is, you're talking about your personal and professional wins, and it does get, it's a nice personal touch, I think. So yeah, Jack, yeah, what do you find? What have you found the main benefits to you?
And thanks, Richard, for having us. And this has been a great panel today. I mean, Francine hit everything that the value of it to me, but there's one really big piece of value that really has helped me because it's a main theme of mine, and that's that you get more out of life by helping others. And I have found that this has provided me the opportunity to help others as well. And not just for me to gain value, but it's just opened up opportunities in different rooms where I was able to reach out and help others from my HR professional experience and resume and career advice. So it's also that giving back that makes you feel good as well. And that's in addition to everything that Francine said. So thank you, Richard.
Yeah, another good point, really, that like Christmas time, when you grow from a kid into an adult, you realize that the giving part is just as much fun, if not more than yeah. So it's a good point. Yeah, Elizabeth, if I may.
Tough acts to follow.
I know.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I've realized that actually. Yeah, they've yeah. But anyway, go ahead.
What I've gained from it is a new perspective. So I'm able to listen to thought leaders who are giving back. As Jack said, I'm not as active with regards to hosting outside of the global mobility room and moderating. So I'm generally just listening. And so from that, it's really been able to broaden my horizon as far as different ideas, different thoughts. I mostly use it for professional development. And so that has been a wonderful thing, especially considering I have a small business. And from that, I have so many more resources that I didn't have prior to Clubhouse. And so that's been a fantastic benefit.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth. And I've really, you've got the worst slot there, Liz, I'm sorry to say, because I'm sure that everything's been covered, hasn't it? There's a challenge.
Yeah.
Any other benefits, do you think?
I mean, no, they covered everything. I think, for me personally, I struggle with just like self-confidence, as a lot of us know. So I think Clubhouse has definitely helped me with that, and to find friends like Elizabeth, Jack, and Francine who just, help me out daily, with that, or, with work and, DJing and stuff like that. Everybody's they're motivational, these people on this screen. I love every single one of them. So without Clubhouse, these connections would have never been made. So, well, aside from Jack and I.
That's yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, and I've got a smile all over my face because I'm going to duck out of the question altogether, and because I wouldn't couldn't add any more to that if I tried. I don't think so. Thank you very much this afternoon for such a wonderful panel, for your very valued time.
Amazing.
So,
And thank you, Richard, for putting this together.
Yes.
And part of the beauty of all of Clubhouse has been getting to know you better as well.
Yes,
And so, thank you for that. And learning
you.
more about Saba.
Thank you. Oh, Saba, anyone that's watching, every Thursday, 5 o'clock, come to Saba and just get in touch with me and I'll send you the link. But no, thank you. And thank you, a wonderful panel. Thank you also to viewers, the live viewers and the recorded viewers. I will now play the outro video. And then, so during that process, by all means, you can leave the stage. Often there are people left on the screen, and I caught out then. So yeah, I'll play the outro video, and thank you to everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.